All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Beastars Season 2, Episode 3.
Legoshi is investigating the murder. And apparently that might land him in the position of Beastar if he succeeds.
It very well could.
Yeah.
Very well could.
Huh.
I don't think that the Ste Hexai is aware that that is going to be the case, though.
I don't think so either.
So, in a lot of ways, this is a very, very cool coincidence that this could move things into a position where we have Legoshi and Louis like standing in the light and one standing in the shadow.
Yeah.
And there could be some cool kind of rival dynamics there.
Bang.
Yeah.
There was that whole bit with Louis in the car.
Yeah. In the school, though, the idea, though, that we are going into kind of the murder, mystery, solving things there, that means that Legoshi's confidence that he gained a lot of in Season 1 is going to be the kind of thing that will help him get through a lot of the issues interacting with the other animals, with him.
Yes.
So if he can really head this up and give at least the Snick a bit of a helpful pointing in certain directions, there's a lot of good that he can do even outside of just finding the potential murderer.
Yep.
Like what he did with the kangaroo, who was, the pervert stealing
that's right.
High school girl like gym outfits and stuff.
Get into a good old boxing match. Yeah. Yep. We love it.
Yep, we love it. I would also love to see how Haru kind of is involved, or at the very least kind of thinks about him doing this. Though.
I would love to see more of her this episode since we didn't get any of her last episode. And
Yeah. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right, well, Yuki Kaji is in Beastars.
Yeah, all right.
Our man here just making the rounds, getting all over the place.
But
that's awesome.
So we got a bit more detail, and we got to see what happened that night with Louis and the Leo group and all of that. And apparently, it wasn't his idea to take over the group.
Yep.
It was what's his face, the guy that was driving him around and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is curious. Like, it makes sense because Louis did kill their boss, right in the heart of their base and everything. So it's like, okay, that shows that he has a bit of stones, But
that is not the reason actually why they made him their boss. It has nothing to do with that. It's just the fact that they're like, oh, this could be actually really good for our image.
Yep.
Entirely just based around the idea that he is a popular herbivore.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's crazy.
Not Louis' skills, as with regards to his
they mentioned
ability to have that kind of like commanding presence or anything like that.
Although that did seem to be a contributing factor. They're like,
they didn't know anything about it other than he's an actor. Like,
well, he's popular, going to be potentially one of the next Beastars things, and an actor. So there's a presence that goes with that.
I guess you by association. That's true.
But yeah. So okay, and then they give him the test of. Here's some bison steak.
Yeah. Bison.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Right. Which was it? Was it a buffalo or a bison? Yeah. Okay. So it's literally eat or be eaten at that point.
There you go.
Well,
I mean, let's go through it here. He's always resented the idea that he has to recoil when in the face of a carnivore that displays their fangs, their teeth, or even shows the slightest bit of their predatory nature.
Right.
And then he gets basically said, okay, then you should become a predator.
Yeah.
You should become a carnivore.
Yep.
Here you are.
Yeah,
In fact,
literally.
we're serving it to you on a silver platter. This is easy.
Right.
This should be easy, right? Or are you so weak that you can't even do this?
It's
like there's
great
so many ways you could take this because it's something that reviles him. Like he's reviled by it.
Yep.
But is he reviled by it because of the idea that he's eating the meat, the smell of the meat? Because he should have never smelled bison or buffalo meat in his life.
Unless he went to the dark market randomly, but why would he do that?
No, he would have. I think this smell thing was that it was so alien and so just
and in a lot of ways it's an experiential societal sort of training thing, like, because yes, there's a lot of it that is definitely instinct and things like that, right?
Right.
He is a herbivore by nature, right?
Sure.
But there's also the idea that with all of the basically shaming of carnivorous acts that come from society, that then carnivores, it's almost powerful enough to combat carnivores' actual appetites, right?
Oh, yeah.
How much more so for a herbivore who has no appetites? It would just...
Well, for meat.
For meat, right? Yeah. To do carnivorous acts. There would be no defense against that in a sort. It would just completely take over their lifestyle, their way of thinking, and all that. And then all of a sudden he's presented with it when he I mean, I don't describe this to people who haven't seen the show because you don't want to spoil them on it, but like the way to sum up Louis as a character basically is, yes, you've got the wolf and the rabbit and the vanilla sort of story there, right? And it's great. But then you have, what if you had a deer that wished he was a carnivore?
Yeah.
Right? That wanted to have that kind of strength so that he didn't have to, pun intended, buck and cow to,
exactly.
everyone with teeth.
And this is a cool kind of flip on the typical gang thing where it's the, take the drugs so that we know that you're one of us.
Yeah.
And then, we're going to be able to, accept you. Now, he takes it, and the alien smell, the revile and all that almost immediately goes away. Now, the acting that might have been at play with regards to this is amazing, I want more. We don't know actually how much of that is acting.
Yep. Maybe it's just that he managed to swallow past it and he's like, okay, I can do this. I'm not going to vomit. I need to make sure that since I'm doing this that I don't get eaten, so I'll lean into it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is I would say, the turning point to where he started to become their leader.
Right.
More so than just the pawn by them.
Yeah, because by the time we get to the events that happen in the previous episode where he's like, you thought of me as a nice juicy steak, didn't you? That part of him is gone.
Yeah.
Like, well, funnily enough, they bit off more than they could chew. Like they were expecting just some pawn that they could use for however long they needed him, right? But no,
he's
it's
way
it's
more
a bit
than
different. This deer's got claws.
This deer, it bit different, if you will. Like,
God damn it! God damn it!
So Pina, new character, Yuki Kaji. Okay, little pedantic asshole.
Yep, absolute little shit.
What is this guy? So you know what I feel like it is basically. You know how there's those people that basically understand kind of the general rules of what people most likely will or won't do, and then they play into that kind of you won't hit me kind of thing. There's no way a carnivore would hurt me here.
It's the little
you'd
kid
be thrown out of
society.
Right.
It's the little kid that basically talks a bunch of smack to the adult because he knows that the adult legally can't, do anything to him, right? Whereas he can do whatever the hell he wants to the adult.
Right. Now, what's funny about this is that he showed specific targeted interest in Legoshi.
Yes.
Which I just gotta say, I think it's more than just him being like a bantery, flirty kind of.
Like he might have the hots for
I think
Legoshi.
He's like, no, actually, I'm kind of into it.
I wouldn't mind sticking my horns in. Yeah.
I mean, he's a bit horny, so I mean.
He is literally horny. Thankfully, he didn't show up, saying that he was the goat,
Right. But I'll bet you, if anything, just the fact that he's given a Yuki Kaji voice, he is the goat to some.
Oh, definitely.
And that.
If you think about it, so the show talks about how this society is herbivore dominated, right? And Louis was a great example of that, and he also, resented it in a lot of ways, right? Or resented the ways that he was still a herbivore, right? But what Pina did here is he was marking his territory. Basically, the alpha herbivore left for some reason.
Yeah.
Right? And so, almost like smelling blood in the water, he steps in and then immediately proceeds to basically targetedly put down all of the other people that could potentially oppose him,
be a problem.
Right, exactly, to assert himself as the alpha, right? And then he specifically goes to the beta of the previous alpha and targets them even more.
Yeah.
Right? Because it wasn't just that, like, Legoshi has had all the things happen to him that have happened to him.
Right.
But him and Louis,
they're popular.
Everyone
at the school saw the whole thing with
the whole stage play and everything, right?
Yeah.
And they know about the fact that Legoshi, saved Haru from the Leo group, right? So he has probably heard, Pina has probably heard that Louis kind of really respected Legoshi in a lot of ways, or at the very least thought of him in a different way than a lot of the other people around him.
Yeah,
right.
I think that if anyone was watching the stuff that was going on in the drama club, that it wouldn't be too much of a stretch. But the other thing that I thought was really funny was that he kind of mass targeted all of the carnivores, and I don't think that was how do I say this? I don't think that was a mistake. I don't think that was
it was intentional.
I think that was intentional.
Yeah.
I think what he was doing was he was realizing that Juno is an actually decent Beastar candidate.
Yes.
And he's like, I don't want to target her specifically because then everyone will defend her.
Right.
But if I target the carnivores, I am hitting Juno
by
proxy.
Yeah.
So I don't need to call her out and have everyone defend her.
Yep.
I can hit Juno indirectly in this way,
and
then all the herbivores will be like,
I am hoping we get to see some more of Juno this season because, like, even in if I recall correctly, when the first season was wrapping up to a close, right, and we got to see how Juno
way more in focus.
Juno was way more in focus, right, and then with Louis being gone from the story, right, it seemed like that would just naturally continue. Because she would be the next Beastar candidate, right?
Right.
But now that this guy's showing up, I want to see how she defends her territory. And I get the feeling that she potentially might not because of the fact that, in a meta way, Legoshi is being put forward as the actual potential next Beastar because he's working on solving the mystery. But then also,
no one else knows about that.
No. I know that's not a character reason. This is the character reason that I think it would be.
Okay.
In that, she got rejected by Legoshi, and that probably doesn't do a bunch of great things for her confidence, which might make her question whether she really is all that, So she might. I don't know. Yeah.
I kind of disagree a lot with your reads on Juno specifically.
I would love to be wrong.
I don't think that she's the kind of character that that loses confidence over something so small so quickly.
I would hope not.
Yeah, if anything, I feel like this is just the parts of the beginning of the season where they're not focusing on Juno because she's not the main character or even a main character.
Yeah, the stuff that she's doing because Legoshi rejected her, it doesn't have too much to do with Legoshi anymore, therefore it doesn't
What is she doing because Legoshi rejected her?
No, she's not pursuing Legoshi.
Oh, gotcha.
So she doesn't have as much relevance to Legoshi's story. So since Legoshi is the main character, if she continues doing her thing to try and be Beastar, it doesn't matter as much in the story as we know it because this is Legoshi's story.
Yeah. It is something though where if he is now the first new character that we've really officially gotten this season, then the drama club will be a huge focus.
Yes,
and it will be the just kind of the battleground, if you will, for just stuff in general. And that means Juno will be a player, and she will actually be doing things independently of whether or not she likes,
that's
Legoshi
true,
or what have you.
Yeah.
If anything, I feel like more and more they're gonna start pushing Haru into the background because of that thing that happened with Legoshi and her.
Yeah,
because
that does concern me a little bit.
That was a moment where I think if I understand him and what he's going through here, is that he still doesn't fully understand his feelings towards her because, of course he doesn't. Yeah, he's in high school, but also, like, he has no frame of reference for what it's like to love someone in this way, but also a herbivore where society is telling him
makes it
you're
even
wrong.
more complicated.
This is perversion. This is totally not what you should be doing. This is not right. And then he comes into these situations with her with some influence from his peers, being like, I think you're maybe a little bit misguided. You just want to protect herbivores, which is good, but that's not
Right.
love. That's more like some kind of worship that's misguided or something.
It feels like a response to your intense negative environmental influences on your instincts, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay, I must protect all herbivores in order to go to the polar opposite of eating them, right? And then she is sort of this paragon example of potentially a herbivore you'd need to protect, which is exactly
like
what she hates
or something,
right? Because she's gotten that her whole life. She hates it when that happens, and that's why I feel like
he really just became like he lost all self-awareness with regards to the stuff that she had told him in the past in that scene. Yeah.
This stuff that's happening right now is very much melodramatic. However, that being said, it is something that does follow given how they decided to end the first season.
Yeah.
That bit when they're talking and then he doesn't take her hand. He doesn't focus on any of that. He says, I'll become stronger so I can protect you. And she pulls her hand away, right?
Yeah. And I think this was him starting to realize that was maybe wrong because he is already strong enough.
Sure.
So remember how he said, I used to look at their size difference and I saw that as entirely a negative thing. But I think what it was here was he was holding her hand and he realized, oh my God, wait, she is way smaller than me. I'm way larger than her. I actually am not strong enough necessarily to protect her from society, but I am very much strong enough
to protect her.
No, I think he was talking about his capacity because he was looking at the size difference. So he's saying the magnitude by which I can protect her is enormous because I am so much bigger than her. Like there's so much there's so much opportunity for that.
The thing that I want to see Legoshi get out of is the role aspect. This is the right thing to do.
Yes,
right? And he said that a couple times. Like this is the right thing for me to do as a carnivore. Right? This is the right thing to do.
And it's like sure.
It's like I mean,
but that's not had anything to do with your feelings.
Right. You talked about the whole idea of coexisting with herbivores, and Bill, I think he hit the nail on the head. Right?
True.
We don't need to hear this, and certainly not from you, right?
We already know this.
It's Tywin hearing, Baelish talk about chaos as a ladder, and he's like, no shit. It's like, of course.
You're the first person to think that.
Right, exactly. It's, of course we should protect herbivores.
Right.
As opposed to what? Eating them? Like, duh, right?
Duh, exactly.
But that's a, but in doing so, you're shackling yourself to something that it's a different kind of shackle than what you've had before, of that sort of self-hatred and loathing over your instincts. But it's a shackle nonetheless. You do that because you want to, not because it's some burdened with glorious purpose bullshit. Like no.
Or the right thing to do.
Or the right thing to do, right? So in the case of with Haru, that is absolutely a foundational thing. But because it's so foundational, you can forget about it. You won't need to actually be protecting her a lot of the time. Unless it's literally in a situation like with the Leo group, which granted is a great reasoning for why Legoshi would go there, because there was an extreme instance of something happening that demanded him to behave like a carnivore to defend her from carnivores. But for the most part in her day-to-day life, she has to deal with bullying and shit, right? Like it's like she doesn't need your carnivore defenses, right? Like that's not what she needs right now. If anything, she actually needs genuine connection and communication and stuff, which you can't give.
Blocked yourself from
exactly
in that interaction.
And that's why I love the fact and hate the fact that she pulls her hand away at the end of season 1, because it basically sums up their whole relationship probably for season 2, in that Legoshi, because he's young and stupid and he isn't familiar with these kinds of things, he is his own worst enemy. Not because of his instincts, but because of his inexperience, right? Because of his lack of confidence, his immaturity, right?
Yeah.
And if you were to just actually talk with her, then maybe she could help you through this, but because you don't, she can't.
Yep.
And
there it is. There's the rub.
There we go.
So we're going to end up with some shenanigans with Pina. We're going to end up with some shenanigans potentially with the bear, because in this episode, two things happened that very much kind of gave us the, are they finally ready? Because in the end of season 1, we had that moment where there was someone that was very tall that was coming up to Legoshi that had very much just kind of drugged up in some way. That was probably something that was a
inhibitor or some kind of
something for carnivores specifically. And then also in this episode, the bear finally spoke, and we saw his face even for the first time.
Several times. It was
Several times,
and the way it was done was very much
like freaking Winnie the Pooh.
Yep.
He looked like the cutest, looked the most adorable, just like
a few things this matches up with, right? Anytime you have a murder mystery, you kind of want to ask yourself, what style are they going for? Are they going for the obvious person and then it's just how they did it? Are they going for the person you least suspect? Are they going for the person you most medium suspect?
Or is it not even whether or not you find out who done it? It's about once you find out who done it, what do you do about that? Yeah.
And one of the ways this felt very sort of Andy Bernard's introduction to the Office cast, where it's the we bring him in and they're very much not part of the group, but then all of a sudden we start pretending that they're part of the group and they always have been, and then you just kind of accept it, right?
Sure.
The way that they handled the bear this episode was as if, he's been the crew all along, right?
Well, he has, yeah.
Well, he has, but they've been specifically avoiding him, ever showing him, or his face at least, never having him talk. We don't even know his name.
We don't even know his
name,
right? Yep.
And yet it's so...
He's in the carnivore group now.
The carnivore group, it's regular, right? We know basically every other carnivore in there, even if we don't know their names. We certainly had a decent amount of conversations with them.
There's a couple of them that we still don't know the names of, but we have plenty of others, like Alba.
But we've spent time with them, right? It's like, even if I can't tell you the name, I know their general sort of personality from the things we've seen with them thus far.
Right.
But not this guy. Not this guy.
Now, this might be a manga, adaptation thing where it's just we haven't, spent any time with him yet because, things are abridged down basically to the point where there's not as much time to focus on, extras in the drama club. But the idea that at the end of the episode, big honkin' carnivore, definitely Claws, member of the school because of the pants.
Yep.
And also, I would say potentially even bigger than the bear.
Right, and
this is the part where things get a little weird, right?
Yes, potentially bigger than the bear, and I still think it's the bear, but I'm with you. It is bigger than the bear was drawn, but I would not be surprised if they when he's in the... because he's very docile when we see him regularly, right?
Yeah.
It's Winnie the Pooh, right?
He looks literally like a big, tall, lanky, gray Winnie the Pooh.
But I've seen that image of Winnie the Pooh hulked out. It's the kind of thing where if all of a sudden his instincts are going and he's about, and he's in the I want to feed, I want to kill mode, I wouldn't be surprised if his muscles bulged out a bit more than usual, And if you were to have any character in this is in a world where a rattlesnake is scaled up to the size of like a boa constrictor, right?
Oh no. This is he's a weird. Almost all the other animals kind of have a decent ratio of size.
But because the animals are anthropomorphized and everything, you got to get a little bit creative with how they're built.
Yeah, totally.
And if you were to have any animal be ridiculously big, it would be a bear.
Yeah,
just big and intimidating and scary and strong. It'd be a bear.
Yeah. It is one of those things, though, where I've, just seeing him and stuff in the background and all this stuff and being so sus of him because the show has all the way up
obviously
until
avoiding him.
Season 2 here now, obviously avoiding him, that I was just like... But why even then have him in here since we're not focusing on the murder mystery? And then immediately in season 2, we're going to focus on the murder mystery. I'm like, here we go. And then very quickly we get back into the drama club has, obviously the person there, could be someone from the drama club who... attacked him,
One of the things that I like about this, though, is that it seems like they're avoiding beating around the bush, because by narrowing it down to the drama club very quickly, there's only, 8 people that could have done it, right?
But then... I don't think it necessarily has to be someone from the drama club.
It doesn't necessarily have to be, but going on the idea that it's the bear, one of the things we talked about is if it's not about who did it, but what do we do after we find out?
Or who knows about it.
Yeah. Him... If this is the bear showing up behind Legoshi right now, it might not be to silence him or anything. It might be because it's the, shit, do you really think people are going to find out? I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. I didn't mean to. I've been good. I haven't eaten anyone else. I didn't want to do it, but, can you help me?
Yeah, I really do think that what we're going to end up finding out here is that the one who was taking the pills was the bear specifically to try and suppress some of his own animal instincts, because that was one of Pina's points that he brought up, was that because carnivores spend most of their time trying to suppress their lust and carnivorous instincts,
they can never truly be beautiful.
This is just a fact. I'm just scientifically proven. It's like, okay, you just shut up, you bitch.
Yeah, right.
Like, have you seen Juno in a dress? Like, come on, you just shut the fuck up, so with that, it would be really cool to have it be the twist of, oh, we're trying to make you look all scary and stuff, and Legoshi's gonna be like, oh, what are you doing here? And he's gonna be like, I need to talk to you.
Right. And
but I would like it to be a thing where it's not necessarily the bear that did it, but the bear knows something.
That would be cool. Yeah, where it's the I'm also worried.
I'm responsible in some way.
Sure. Yeah. Right. But if, regardless of who it ends up being, if it's something where it's the, oh, I did it and I need help, right? That's the 12th step of the 12-step program for Legoshi, right? It's the perfect parallel. It's dealing with someone who has been repressing their instincts all this time and made a bad mistake as a result of repressing it and not facing them, and then he has to then deal with that, a la Gohin, right? He has to take that role and become that leader, right? If he's going to be the Beastar, he has to be a leader for carnivores. He has to be a leader,
herbivores,
right? And before he actually gets the role, like the official title. Yeah.
So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.